The Philadelphia Eagles just did the unthinkable. After a soul-crushing exit in the wild card round at the hands of a team riddled with backup players, the entire city was demanding blood. The atmosphere at Lincoln Financial Field was toxic. The 2025 season had been a roller coaster of division title highs and postseason disaster lows, leaving the front office with a simple ultimatum: evolve or get left in the dust. Most franchises would have crumbled under the weight of that disappointment. Most general managers would have played it safe, fearing the wrath of the fans and the uncertainty of the market. But in Philadelphia, there is no such thing as safe. There's only the relentless, sometimes ruthless pursuit of a championship. What happened over the last few months wasn't just an offseason. It was a full-scale demolition and reconstruction project, a tactical masterclass that has stunned the experts and left the rest of the league scrambling to understand what the Eagles have actually built. Before we dive into the wreckage and the brilliance of these moves, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest, most intense NFL updates on the planet. The fallout from that playoff loss wasn't just about the scoreboard. It was about the identity of the team. The front office realized that the window of opportunity was closing, and they decided to swing for the fences. The result: a complete overhaul of the roster that has now earned the highest possible praise from the analytical community, even as some of the moves continue to spark fierce debate among the diehard faithful. But wait until you hear exactly which star player was unceremoniously shipped out to make this puzzle fit. The 2025 season, for all its frustration, was technically a success on paper. They captured the division for the second straight year, finally burying that cursed streak of no-repeat NFC East winners. They stacked up double-digit wins. Yet, none of that mattered the moment they collapsed in the postseason. When you lose to a squad full of backups in the playoffs, you don't just tweak the edges of your roster. You ignite a fire. The architect of this rebuild, Howie Roseman, did exactly that. He didn't just add pieces. He stripped the engine apart and rebuilt it. This wasn't about finding a bargain. It was about finding a championship. Let's look at the foundation first. This was a busy winter. We saw extensions that signaled a clear intent to keep the core together. Jordan Davis, the mountain of a man on the defensive line, was rewarded with a monster 3-year deal that made him the highest-paid nose tackle in the league at the time. It was a statement of intent. Philadelphia wants to dominate the trenches. They also brought back familiar faces like Grant Calcaterra and Marcus Epps, locking in depth on 1-year deals. Even the punter, Braden Mann, secured a 4-year extension, proving that no detail was too small for this overhaul. But the real story isn't about who stayed. It's about the chaos that happened when they started dealing. Who's to blame for the lack of consistency in the secondary over the last few years? Is it the scheme, or has it been a lack of raw talent? Drop a name in the comments below, because what the front office just pulled off at the cornerback position is nothing short of legendary. The narrative shift really began with the departures, the most controversial of which, without a doubt, was the trade of A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. For months, the rumors swirled. Fans in the comments were furious, screaming that it would never happen, that he was the heart of the offense. But the writing was on the wall. The front office knew that to get better, they had to be willing to lose something great to gain something new. The return package, a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick, is a long-term play. It's a gamble on the future, trading current production for years of value. But it wasn't just a subtraction, it was a pivot. To fill the void left by such a colossal figure, they brought in speed demon Hollywood Brown on a 1-year deal. They traded for the incredibly talented Dantavian Wickses, a player whose advanced metrics suggest he's been sitting on untapped potential for years. And then, they drafted My Lemon in the first round. Suddenly, the wide receiver room looks different. It's younger, hungrier, and potentially more dynamic. Devonta Smith is now stepping into that undisputed WR1 role. With Saquon Barkley in the backfield and a retooled offensive line, the offense isn't just surviving, it's evolving into something the league hasn't seen from them before. But wait until you see what they did to transform the defense. It's arguably the most aggressive move of the entire year. The defensive line was the biggest question mark heading into the summer. When they lost Jalen Phillips in free agency, it felt like the sky was falling. The panic was real. But then, the trade happened. They went out and acquired Jonathan Grard from Minnesota. Now, let's talk numbers because the math is beautiful. While Phillips signed for $80 million in guaranteed money, the Eagles managed to secure Grard for $50 million guaranteed. That is a massive discrepancy for a player who, statistically, wins his pass rush battles at an elite level. His 23% pass rush win rate would have been near the top of the entire league last year. He's cheaper, he's more available, and he fits the culture perfectly. By trading a third-round pick for him, they actually put themselves in a position to recoup a compensatory third-round pick next year. It was a masterclass in salary cap management and asset acquisition. But the crown jewel, the signing of Rick Woolen. On a one-year, $12 million deal, they secured a cornerback who, despite being overlooked by the casual fan, has been putting up some of the most impressive coverage metrics in the NFL over the past 4 years. When you pair him with Quyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, you are looking at a secondary that is suddenly the envy of the division. However, not everyone agrees with these aggressive moves. There is one specific decision that still has experts scratching their heads and fans arguing in the streets. Is it genius, or is it a disaster in the making? The critics are pointing squarely at that 3-year, $78 million deal for Jordan Davis. It's a staggering amount of money for a nose tackle, and there are those who argue that he hasn't yet produced enough pass rush pressure to justify that price tag. It's a valid concern. When you pay that much for a defensive lineman, you expect him to be a game wrecker every single snap. But look at the intangibles. Jordan Davis has become the heartbeat of a locker room. He's a captain, a leader, and a physical force against the run that makes the entire defense better. His conditioning has improved every single year, and the front office is clearly betting that his best football is still ahead of him. In a league that is trending toward more passing, having a wall in the middle of your defense isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. The Eagles are clearly an analytically driven organization. They don't make moves based on feelings. They make them based on the data. They saved money in certain areas to spend it on elite corners and defensive line anchors. They sacrificed a superstar receiver to build a more balanced, multifaceted attack. So do they ace it? The experts are giving them a grade the highest in the league. They believe the moves have positioned Philadelphia to not just compete, but to dominate. But we know the NFL doesn't care about grades in July. It cares about wins in January. The roster is set. The questions are answered. The hype is an all-time high. But there's one final piece to this puzzle that we haven't even touched on yet. The energy, the atmosphere, and the burning desire for redemption. The Eagles aren't just looking for a division title anymore. They're looking for a championship trophy. And if this offseason is any indication, they have built a team that is built to take it, no matter the cost. The countdown to the first kickoff isn't just about the start of the season. It's about the start of a new era. And for this team, anything less than everything will be considered a failure.